Defense Committee, the Black Riders Liberation Party. I'm Eda Ref. I'm Minister of Public Relations of the Black Riders Liberation Party with the New Generation Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. You're tapped in with the next, the second part to the political prisoners, you know what I'm saying, platform, the platform for political prisoners to educate people about political prisoners and prison abolition, the movement, you know what I'm saying, how it ties into the black liberation movement and ways we can support activities to get active. You know what I'm saying? Black power and all power to the people.
Black power, all power to the people. The Regional Minister of Information, Cadre Sims for the Black Riders Liberation Party, the New Generation Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. As always, we're pushing the political line of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a head for a head, and a bloody life for a bloody life. We're tuned in with the Black Defense Committee, educating people on the political prisoners, the elder political prisoners in the community, or my fault, in the prison industrial complex. We got a couple of national leaders that are going to hop on board here today and give us their outlook on political prisoner work and how they go about mobilizing and organizing people towards political prisoner work.
Salute
General
Black
Tucker.
Power, man. So yeah,
Black
what we
Power,
trying to
General.
do, Black Power. So we got the general present, you know what I'm saying? Um, we're gonna get started soon. We got people coming in, you know what I'm saying? Salute to the comrade Rashawn, you know what I'm saying?
Salute, comrade.
Um, so basically, what's the call? Free them all until Babylon and Jericho fall. Free them all, man. You know what I'm saying? Brick by brick, wall by wall. What's the call? Free them all, man. We gotta do the work. You feel me? As far liberating our elders, liberating our comrades. You feel me? The prison movement won't be successful if it ain't supported from the streets. You know what I'm saying? So the Black Riders Liberation Party, we believe in. We got a two-pronged strategy based off of turning the prisons into um, hitting universities of revolutionary thought and culture. You know what I'm saying? And we want that to be supported by the streets, the neighborhoods, the blocks, the turfs, the hood. It got to be supported so we can turn that into basic basis of revolutionary action activity. You know what I'm saying? Because when we believe that within the concentration camps across the country has some of the best of our kind, man. Some of the fiercest fighters, some of the most deepest prison professors, politicians, theoreticians. You know, there's a long tradition when it comes to the Black liberation movement as the prisoner movement being a very element, a intricate element to the Black liberation struggle, going far back from the Reconstruction period after chattel slavery, when the chattel slavery turned into um, different ways of incarcerating people for methods um, of enslavement. The 13th Amendment of the Constitution is what made it to where slavery is still legal through incarceration. So they created a whole system based off of continuing the the slavery from the plantation to the to incarceration to the plantation being prisons. It evolved into what was called convict leasing and many different steps of making people do making people work for free, making people work for cheap. You know what I'm saying? The main the when it comes to the plantation, the police of today, they come from the patty rollers. They come from people who used to capture escaped slaves and take them back to the plantation. You know what I'm saying? And that's the role that the police, the pigs, role play in society. We know that the pigs they don't protect the people, they protect property. They preserve black people as property for the ruling class, for white supremacy and the economic system. You know what I'm saying? So we believe that this transformation of the plantation to the industrial prison industrial complex needs to be an element to where resistance must take place there too. You know what I'm saying? And the different stages of the evolution of the plantation complex was also utilized throughout the civil rights movement to the other waves of black liberation movement. It came to the forefront and it was highlighted due to the free Huey P. Newton trial. You know what I'm saying? The prison was also used to suppress any type of liberation movement or any type of action that would challenge the status quo. You know what I'm saying? People were actually being charged. They were being charged for and targeted for their political beliefs, and they still are to this day. You know what I'm saying? But we can't deal with what's going on now if we don't understand what happened in the past. We won't be able to tell the future that repeats itself constantly due to us having a lack of knowledge of self and our history. You know what I'm saying? So it came to a pivotal point within the free Huey P. Newton, who was a co-founder of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, and was charged for the murder of Officer Frey back in 1967. You know what I'm saying? And it was one of the biggest trials, biggest cases. It's so many cases in just in the existence of the Black Panther Party in particular, from the New York Panther 21 and the Black Panther and the Huey P. Newton, the Free Huey trial. You know what I'm saying? These were some of the biggest cases like in history. You know, and you can see there's the biggest cases, and it's an opportunity to realize um, the victories that was won due to people's paramilitary political pressure to combat the state and to demand the freedom of the comrades. You know what I'm saying? Once Huey P. Newton was found was free, and they dropped the charges for trying to that they say for charging him for murder of the police officer of the pig, right? He called out for the liberation of the Soledad brothers, the brothers who was organizing with inside prison, led by organized by the General George Jackson. George Jackson being a field marshal of the prison chapter of the Black Panther Party, and very was one of the key elements of the forefathers of the freedom fighting movement within the prison state. When I say the prisoners are the best of our kind, I can't. What I'm saying is it's been tested, known that people have been radicalized and politicized within the confines of the concentration camp when they're being buried alive under concrete and steel. I'm talking none other than the likes of Malcolm X, the likes of like I said, we said Huey P. Newton. You know, when he was locked in the soul in what they called the soul breaker. You know, it was his case that even um shed light to the reality of solitary confinement, making steps into abolishing that. You know what I'm saying? As cruel and unusual punishment. We talk none other than the likes of Bunchy Carters. You know what I'm saying? The the George Jacksons, like we just mentioned, Elders Cleavers, all of these brothers was politicized inside the belly of the beast, inside of this concentration camp method to contain and suppress the struggle for liberation of black people. You know what I'm saying? They thought that that would that they could contain it, but what it did was it created and exposed different um, inhumane conditions, and it led people to a place where they had nothing to do but to fight and organize. You know, it made the strongest of the strong. You know, the Black Riders Liberation Party in particular, our foundation is the foundation of our organization is based off of is largely centered around the raising of consciousness within the political within the prison industrial complex. It was our leader, co-founder of the Black Riders Liberation Party, General Taco, standing for taking all capitalists out. It was him and other Bloods and Crips that unified the understanding that Bloods and Crips it came from the Black Panther Party for self-defense, understanding the need to unify these rival street tribes and the true identify our true common enemies, which were the pigs, the politicians, and the big businessmen. You know what I'm saying? And General Taco was able to take what he learned in prison and bring it to the street and organize within the areas of Watts, California, South Central, and in what was historically known as the Red Zone in the Black Panther Party's terminology. They called it the Red LA Gangland, the Red Zone, because this was the area where the largest percent of casualties amongst the fascist pigs took place. This was the place where the first SWAT team in America was launched due to the Watts riots and rebellions, the success and the 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 military fortification and knowledge from comrades like Geronimo Pratt, who eventually was a political prisoner later on down the line. You know what I'm saying? He was able to hit. It was the likes of him and um, like I said, Bunchy Carter, who was able to help direct and transform the culture from the criminal mentality, the subculture of criminal mentality and gangsterism into a revolutionary mentality, guerrilla and as a social reformer. You know what I'm saying? As a freedom fighter. So when it comes down to it, the Black Riders Liberation Party, we are an element of that. You know what I'm saying? During these specific times in our existence, not only will we operate as an element for a vehicle for people to get active against fascism once they um, are released from prison, but also as an element of enlightenment while they are inside prison. Because a lot of times people get inside prison and they read, they train, they work out, and they come conscious, but then they come home to nothing and they easily backslide into the life of self-destructive culture. You know what I'm saying? General Taco was one of the comrades that refused to do that. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, he has been a political prisoner himself through many situations. You know what I'm saying? We had what was called the Black Rider 3 case, you know, was some trumped up charges, trumped up charges to conspiracy to acquire some firearms to shoot up about 4 police stations. You know what I'm saying? With these during this case, different cases was dropped. They were trying to create a gang injunction where they were trying to restrict the Black Riders from propagating and being in certain areas, um, and things like that. You know, General Taco did about 2 years in the Corcoran State Correctional Facility. The same comrades, with the same comrades that developed some of the corridor collective objectives, the corridor collective initiatives that we push forward within within our operations. This just coming straight from prison. The core collective and the initiatives of closed circuit economic initiative, of agricultural communal operations, and the political block vote. You know what I'm saying? Basically making the community into a power of utilizing the ballot as a bullet. You know what I'm saying? Or putting bullets behind that ballot or whatever legislation and law doesn't meet the needs of the people. You know what I'm saying? Basically, operating the political power as policymakers instead of just people who are pushing a ballot or for a candidate. You know what I'm saying? When the candidates are all bought off anyway. You know what I'm saying? So these type of things were developed inside these think tanks within these concentration camps. You know what I'm saying? And this is what makes the political prisoners so important. This is why they need our support. This is why these comrades need to be released. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, with the gang enhancement charges, when they try to put, um, we dealt with stuff like that even with the Oakland chapter. You know what I'm saying? When one of our main political prisoners by the name of Jihad, when they try to put a tracking device on him. Matter of fact, like I said, they put a tracking device on General Taco to make sure that he didn't hang around no black riders, and he make it to where he couldn't speak in public because they said he was inciting violence and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a long history that I could go into. We only got so much time, so much amount of time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so please look up the numerous cases that are politically charged, from the historical analysis to the modern days, and the so you can learn from our experiences. You could develop new tactics and new maneuvers and strategies to continue the struggle for freedom of all political prisoners. Black power and all power to the people.
Black power and all power to the people, comrade. Nick Bezel just slid in. Peace and black power, comrade Nick Bezel. Good to see you. What's it called? I mean, Snap, you think I should just get into these questions in regards to the comrades we have here now? I can start getting their opinions on a couple things. Um, which comrade is that on the screen?
That's
Uh,
AJ.
yeah, it's AJ.
AJ Frazier? Okay, comrade AJ Frazier. Good to see you, brother. How you doing today?
Doing all right, brother.
Salute, comrade AJ.
Salute, brother. How you doing?
Hey, comrade, you are a hero, bro, for real.
I appreciate you, man. I just do my part. It's a lot of folks doing a lot more work than I do.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
really post online too much no more, but
Hey, but it's
uh,
recognized though. Your work is recognized though. I just want you to know that though, for real.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, General Taco gives good words about you in regards to just the way you work and everything. So, much
Oh yeah,
respect to
that
you,
brother,
comrade.
man. General Taco, he been putting in work forever, man. He
Yes, sir.
in every way he does everything. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff he does that folk came to talk about, but he's a superhero for real.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Correct, correct. What's it called? You mind if I go ahead and ask you one of these questions about the elder political prisoners?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
No doubt, brother. What's it called? The first question is, when did you first get involved with political prisoner work yourself?
Um, I don't. One thing about me that y'all probably know, I don't get too much into politics, so I can't go too much into depth just because um COINTELPRO, they really started targeting me hard, especially after Brunswick. So for like the safety of, I've had members of my unit been assassinated and all that, so I don't say too much, but I'll be pretty brief. But
Yes, sir.
I joined the party in 2016 under um, Crystal Muhammad, and uh, it was at that time when we really started getting into political. I've been doing rescue for over 20 years. I joined the Marines a long time ago and learned there, but I started doing the political prisoner stuff in 2016 under Crystal Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, in regards to that political prisoner work, what was your like beginning initial experiences with it? Like, did it seem like it was a completely overwhelming kind of work? Did it seem kind of like with me? I've noticed it's very distinct and different from just regular, mobilizing work. Like, obviously, you have like going out in the community and mobilizing the people and things like that. But as far as political prisoner work, it's definitely distinct, not only in its studying but also in its putting things to action. What are some of the things that you felt like were big learning curves to get over?
You know, the biggest thing is a frustration because it's even videos out there, and it's been court documents that have been exposed, and put out there that had to be exposed by order of judges from the government, admitting that a lot of these political prisoners were innocent of their charges and they're still held behind bars. But
Mm-hmm.
then you got people out there who are really out there hurting our own people, drug dealers and rapists and all that, and they stay free just because they're informants. Let's just keep it a buck. So it gets really frustrating when it's a lot of good people who, and I know I've been set up several times. They've tried to put me behind bars several times. I was facing 10 with an L over something I didn't even do. Thank God there was video footage and I realized what was going on. So I just kind of let things go the way it did. But it's been other things too. I kept my own paperwork on in case I got locked up that I could show proof of entrapment. But they love putting us behind bars. One thing about me, I never even been convicted of a crime before. When I joined the movement, folks were constantly trying to get me felonies, constantly. I could tell it was getting pushed. They were getting pressured from, their puppet masters. But a lot of times, if you bring a lot of people into the movement, they consider you like a high level target, and they try to do whatever they can to take you out or get you locked up or slander you and all that. But anyway, again, the biggest thing is the frustration with what you learn about, like, all these cats were innocent, or the stuff they're charged with, first of all, is like hero stuff, you know what I'm saying? But then they're leaving all these rotten apples in our community free. Most of the killers who are out there killing our own people that stay free, they're informants. That's what a lot of folks don't realize. Damn near all these criminals out there doing all this stuff in our neighborhoods are informants, and that's why they stay free. And they go around rapping about it and bragging about it like they're heroes. But bro, like, when you know what's really going on, when you've been around these cats, but anyway, there's a reason why certain people stay free. I mean, we have an old saying, you got two types of criminals. You got the ones who get locked up, and the ones who stay ratting, So that's one thing to be aware of when you have folks around you acting like that's just cool. And next thing you know, they're trying to set you up, and that's why they're staying free, because they got to meet them quotas that their handlers got to meet. So it's the frustration. It's folks trying to set you up when you're trying to help get folks free, and it's it's just a resistance, man. See, me, I never even do a fundraiser, and I'm not gonna say people's names, but I'll support fundraisers, but I don't do them myself because I know how shit works. If you're a political prisoner, especially if you're like accused of, shooting at folks, shooting at them people. I don't like saying too much online, but if you're accused of stuff like that, and people do fundraisers for you, COINTELPRO's gonna do things to turn the people against you. I learned that a long time ago, so that's why I stay away from fundraisers. I help privately donate to them, but I never create one myself because I know if I ever did one for political prisoners, I'm sorry, but Pandora's box would get open. I'm telling you right now, they're obsessed with me. All I do now is training and rescue. I left the movement years ago, but my whole family is very paranoid, man. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But
comrade, it's like they're no matter if you leave the movement, man, so-called, the movement is in you, and the enemy's never gonna forget all the consciousness that you raised and all the good things that you have done, which is bad for them. Because when it comes to political prisoners, it's not even just about the political charge. We're talking about like just straight prison abolition and mass incarceration, the war on drugs, the 13th Amendment. You know what I'm saying? There's people who are political prisoners because they haven't been judged by a jury of their own peers. You know what I'm saying? And
they want to make an example out of you, so other people will be too scared to do it.
And it's a whole economic system and the industry built off of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got people complaining about not having no jobs, right? When you got jobs being shipped overseas, you got jobs where the skills are the skills are going to waste with people because that industry that would have been on the street for people to have the jobs is in prison now, and they're overseas, and they're also hiring immigrants. You feel me, for cheaper. So the prison industrial complex ties into so much shit globally, and the reason why the political prisoners is so important, especially when it comes to us, because it's really just a matter of repression to the resistance against oppression. Feel me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more prisoners now. There's more black prisoners now than there were black slaves back in 1860. A lot of folks don't know that. Even when you look at human trafficking and sex trafficking, I can't get into too much details, but my unit, we have beef with several cartels because one of the things we do behind the scenes is human trafficking rescue, and they're the main ones behind that. Regardless of how they try to idolize them on, entertainment industry. Like, there's nothing to idolize about sex traffickers and child molesters and all that. But anyway, it's a lot of shit, man, and it's my mind's kind of in a million places right now because some things we're working on right now. But when you see how cold things are in this world and the way the good ones, the heroes, are the ones who get targeted, and the evil ones are the ones who are kept free, just to create chaos and just destabilized regions and all that. It's really sickening, man. You know, I'm a combat vet myself, and I saw a lot of things. I can't even talk about everything I've done in the military, but I remember there were times we were working with, sometimes we get direct orders from our command. Sometimes it would be stuff like CIA and all that, and I didn't get along with them too good. You could probably, because of the way I am and like my thing about morality, there were things they tried to order me to do I wouldn't do and all that, but I can't really get into more than that. But I'm not saying they were all like that, but there's a lot of sick shit going on, man. It's a lot of shit. But again, with the political prisoners, it's sad because we have to keep raising awareness because there's people out there suffering, being tortured in prison cells, been there for decades for things they didn't do or for just heroic stuff. And they're just being left there to torture around, a lot of sick people. Man, you got all these really sick people who are kept free. They're the worst of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like they get treated with love and glorified just because they're working for certain people, even though they're out there child molesting and murdering people and this and that, human trafficking and everything. So it's a lot of stuff, man. I've learned I can't say too much online because then I couldn't even tell you all the shit that's happened to me, but there's a reason why I fell way back, man. And I just mainly just focus on the training and the rescue now.
Understandable. Sometimes you gotta switch the lane just a little bit, not so much the objective or even the goal, but it's like, a lot of the things I was actually just reading Blood in My Eye a couple days ago, like a refresher. And one of the things George said is like, if we can keep the Panther alive with like a show of like underground strength, that the people will start to listen to the Panthers more in the outlook of the political party. So it's just, it's definitely a dialectical thing of finding that balance, but knowing when to pull away, not so much like retreating and running away, but just taking a step back to readjust so you can continue your fight.
Yeah, one thing about that is I'm always kind of careful what I say, but I'll say decentralization. A lot of units operate in small cells because that way, if there's an informant here and an informant there, they're only going to know so much. If everybody in your unit knows everything that's going on, trust me, everybody's going to know what's going on, including your enemies. But if you operate in small cells and you decentralize things and make sure that most things are only communicated locally, and keep things small, even within local units, even break those up, it fixes a lot of those problems. That's one thing I've learned. You see, I post a lot less online now. I purposely only post maybe 10% of what I do now. And a lot of things I do by myself just because if you keep a low percentage of the stuff you do being known, it fixes a lot of problems. It's just one thing I've learned. And plus too, I remember in the military, my unit, we never announced where we were going before we went there. With me, I never do no flyers. I never announce where I'm going to go before I go somewhere. I might post it afterwards if I choose to, but we do that for a reason. That's why I was trained. And a lot of times, even when you do that, the only way to really not make sure folks don't know where you're going sometimes, either do it alone or just operate in small cells. So that's something to look at with the way things work these days, because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Those are, I feel like those are tactics that a lot of people need to be implementing. Security, General Taco is very sharp and keen on those things, and other national leaders are sharp and keen on those things in regards to just making sure that our security is top notch. A lot of the former formations and things like that would, just looking at the historical materialism, some of them got caught slipping by not being as sharp on their security as they could have been. So, we cannot make those mistakes in this new
generation. I want to reach out to a comment someone made here about the salaries. It's crazy, man, because we just looked up online. You could Google it. The average confidential informant's making $85,000 a year. You got some Freeway Ricky Ross. He exposed the fact some of them are getting paid over $5 million a year. I was watching a documentary. One common thing you notice about them, they're all like, you look at William O'Neill, you look at Whitey Bulger, you look at all these informants, whether they're the movement or what, they're all like criminals who got caught and took a deal to stay out of prison. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I've noticed, a pattern I've noticed in the 7 years I've been doing this, whenever someone starts creating chaos, it's always the same thing. I do a background check on them, and they got like a long rap sheet, a bunch of felony convictions and no time behind bars. They'll get like these suspended prison sentences. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And even if you plead guilty to a felony, you're still going to get like at least a year or several years, depending on the minimums. The only way you can legally avoid the minimums is if you agree to work for them people. You know, so that's one thing to look out for, especially if someone starts causing problems. Do a background check on them. If they're accusing somebody of something that person doesn't have no criminal record, then you look at them and they have a mile-long rap sheet, and some of the people are accusing them of stuff that they've been convicted of. Well, use your brain. There's a reason why companies do background checks. You know, I understand people can change, and I understand there's a lot of people who serve their time, but just be wary of those who got these records and they ain't serving no time. That's
Correct.
one
Yes, sir.
piece of
Black
advice
Power,
I'm gonna give y'all.
comrade.
Because
Sir.
man, them are
Yeah,
always
hey,
the ones
comrade,
who come for me.
comrade AJ, man. I just wanted to let you know, man. You are one of the, like I said, you one of the greatest of our kind, man. You know what I'm saying? The greatest, you know what I'm saying, of our time. You know what I'm saying? We got a few more people that we gotta tap in with though. I think they're on the host line. If we have enough time, we'll get back to you. I just want to make sure that we clarify everything. I really appreciate the content and what you just brought, the education and what you
Yes,
just brought
sir.
to the table, because
Definitely.
as you see, you're getting the feedback on the chat, and they're following through and panther blacking off of what you're saying. So you feel
Mm.
me? We appreciate you, comrade. They say that they said we got all mics are open. Who's next, comrade?
I
Who's
appreciate
next?
y'all. Thank you, and all y'all doing a great job, man. I consider myself average in the movement. You know what I'm saying? As far as what I've done, you know, I just try to do my part. But I see some people doing terrific work. I've seen some solo, you know, people who ride solo who do more work than the whole formations. Like, you know, you look. I mean, you look at, man, you look at Sharp Base, you look at Edge. I mean, you look. There's a lot of people out there. Um, you know, I can go on and on with the list. You know, you got Babu, you got Nick, you got Sareem. I mean, I could just go on and on. Talib, there's a lot of cats out there putting a lot of work, man. And Malik, I mean, it just goes on. I don't know how they do it, you know, just nonstop with the way this Pro shit is, because it drives you crazy after a while, man. You look at me and how much
Yeah.
I've aged since I joined this movement, man. That stress and the man, it's I could make a movie on the type of stuff they've done, like modern day Pro and what's going on, and it would blow people's mind. The shit's gotten even worse in a lot of ways than it was back then.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've had my people, my own unit get assassinated and, you know, set up. They've set me up several times. It's been a bunch. They tried to kill me a few times too. It's been a lot of stuff that's going on, you know. And the longer you do this, the more you start, you know, being more discreet. I mean, you look at Nick Bezel too. When he first came in, he showed a lot of stuff he did. I could tell he started being a lot quieter with his moves. So I could tell by looking in his eyes, they're starting to do the same shit to him that they were doing to me. You know, I mean, just kind of pay attention to what's going on. General Taco too, a lot of us, but just all I can say is be careful and be careful who's around you. And one piece of advice I give people: you wouldn't allow them alone around your kids. Don't allow them around you neither, especially in the movement. That's just my advice.
Yes, sir. Peace and black power to you, comrade. We appreciate you for giving your input on the things you did, not only just the tactics, but also just the security preferences. All of it's very valued.
Well, thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Black Power. Who we got on stack next? We got Nick
I thought we
Bezel,
were Nick Bezel. Yes, sir.
Elmer Geronimo Platt, Gun Club. Salute, comrade. Where you at? You tapped in? Do we hear you? I don't see you.
Yes, sir.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We
Black
can hear you,
Power.
but we can't see you.
We might have
Okay.
to keep it
Okay.
that way because this, we don't want the feed to get
Could
too
we?
messed
Could
up.
we?
But
Is it possible we could like take AJ Frazier's picture out and put Nick Bezel in there?
Yeah, that
Switch.
might be able to. You might be able to replace him with mine. It might have a limit on how many people could be in the screen.
That's what I'm saying. Just have the switch it out. His camera is open. Oh, okay. What's it called? I guess we're just gonna have to go with just the visual, audio of Nick Bezel. But how you doing today, comrade? How's everything going with you, sir?
Everything's good. How y'all feeling? Appreciate y'all having me on.
So we appreciate your attendance. Obviously, we heard about a lot of the things been going on with the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club. Y'all dealing with certain things on the COINTELPRO front. We just want to ask you some questions in regards
hold on.
to. What's up,
Hold
sir?
on, hold on. There, I got a question. This just popped up to my head, right?
Go for
This
it,
just
sir.
is all right. So, Black Power, Comrade Nick Bezel, man. After naming your organization after a historic political prisoner
Yes, sir.
and veteran and soldier like Elmer Geronimo Pratt, I wanted to get some feedback off of the role and the inspiration from the from Geronimo Pratt, Elmer Geronimo Pratt, and how that has influenced and developed you as a soldier and servant of the people. Black Power.
Black power, black power. Yeah, I think a lot of times, sometimes I think that gets overlooked. And so I try to make sure that people are well aware of the significance of General Geronimo and what he did and what he provided for the people. Like we have to understand, uh, he was a Vietnam veteran. He was a highly decorated uh, service member. And he believed that his purpose was when he came home was to be able to train his people in the art of self-defense, how to use weapons. And so, for you all who don't know the history, if you go up and look up 41st and Central, right there in Los Angeles, where he had a standoff with the slave patrols, and not one of his troops got hurt
Yes, sir.
with this standoff with the slave patrol, because those tactics that he brought from the army that he used in Vietnam, he applied it to his people, taught his people how to defend themselves, and they were able to have a standoff with the slave patrol, and nobody was killed on their side from that. So by me being a veteran as well, I also feel uh, the same calling to be able to train our people in self defense, to be able to protect themselves, their family members, their loved ones, their community from these same forces that we have to deal with today as they had to deal with 60 years ago.
Black power, black power. I agree, comrade. Like anytime I see people in participating in the military industrial complex in regards to whether it's education, money, and everything, we understand the resources that come with that, but we also understand that our people are still going through a war out here in the streets. So to have people who have those skills and are able and are willing to bring them back in a constructive manner and join the Black Regiment armies like the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club or the Huey P. Newton Gun Club or the Panther Vanguards in regards to the new Black Panther Party and the Black Riders Liberation Party. Just bringing those skills back is very key and integral to our movements.
And it's important to understand that these people who were naming our groups after these Huey P. Newton and Elmer Geronimo Pratt, these were political prisoners at one point in time in their service of the people as freedom fighters. You know what I'm saying? So the that's type of situation as far as being targeted for your political beliefs is still happening to this day. And there are some of their comrades that were comrades with Huey P. Newton, comrades with Elmer Geronimo Pratt that are still locked up to this day. I'm talking about these cats is like 80 years old, man. Still
Mm,
locked up. They're doing over 50 years in prison.
yes,
Sick,
sir.
got ailments, and they're still locked up. That's this shit just is crazy though. You feel me? I just wanted to touch on that. Black Power.
Black Power. Comrade Amun just popped in from the formation Anubis. Peace and Black Power, Comrade Amun.
Peace, fella. How's everybody doing? Excuse my tardiness. Work day, so
Oh no, you good. So we know you very seldom tardy. We know that about you, sir.
right.
What's
Definitely.
it
Black Power.
called?
Hey, Comrade Moon, I just wanted to say you another one of the heroes, man. You one of the greatest of our time, man. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
I
sir.
appreciate
Like
you,
for
brother. I
real.
appreciate you.
I was telling my son about you, bro. Like you know how people talk about you know how people talk about the elder comrades. I be
Mhm.
mentioning you, like the modern day. Like you feel me? My son knows about you, comrade, for real.
Well, you tell nephew I said homage to him, and I hope he carries on the torch from his father. He has a good example.
Yes, sir. Black Power.
Yes, sir.
Hey, not to get. I'm not trying to get too disorganized here, but Comrade Amun, I got one more question for Comrade Nick Bezel, and then I'm gonna shoot you with the next question.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's it called? Comrade Nick Bezel. The question that I have for you was, who was the political prisoner that first had an impact on you? Now, obviously, I know you national chairman for the Elmo Geronimo Pratt Gun Club. So if it is Elmer Geronimo Pratt, that's going to be interesting. But I was just curious if it was someone else by chance.
No, actually, I mean, that's really who it is for me, because growing up in the 90s, even in the rap culture, when you hear Tupac
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mhm.
mentioned his godfather,
Yes, sir.
Geronimo Pratt. So then you start looking to see who he was. And then you start, reading. The internet wasn't big in the 90s, right? We didn't really have it like that.
Yes, sir.
But you had to get books, you had to learn as much as you could. And I encourage everybody, all the youngsters especially that's listening, use this technology. I say this technology is a blessing and a curse, but use this technology to your advantage. Educate yourself, learn about our political prisoners, past and present, because the work that they did 60 years ago is still a lot of the work that we're doing today.
Yes, sir.
And just because it was called COINTELPRO 60 years ago, they try to evolve and have these different names. Remember, 2018, I believe they were calling it what, Black Identity Extremists.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
so we can't fall for the okie doke and make it seem like COINTELPRO has went away. It's still happening. I mean, they just released something about 2020 with the Denver protests as they were being infiltrated as well. So we have to be careful how we move. We have to be thorough in the people that we're around. And then when we have bad feelings about people or there's some red flags, we need to really dig into that because
Correct.
we have the ability and technology today to really find out who people are.
Yes, sir.
And when we're in those situations and something doesn't seem right about somebody, you should go with your instincts and you should do your due diligence and investigation to find out who people are. And you'll be surprised, you know, um, like General AJ said, when you start looking, these people they're gonna try you, and they're gonna try to set you up. They're gonna try to, and when you expose them, they're gonna try to burn it down.
Yes, sir.
This is COINTELPRO. It's the same thing is happening. They're just calling it different terms, but they're still running plays out of the same playbook, and we have to be aware of that.
Yes, sir. Black Power. Yes, sir. That was a great answer in regards to the Elmer Geronimo Pratt thing. I kind of was expecting that because in my head I was like, former serviceman. So in my head it's like there seems to be like a lot of identification with Elmer. I appreciate your answer on that question, Comrade Amun. The question I have for you, brother, is as a national leader, what are the steps you take towards introducing political prisoner work to new cadres?
In regards to introducing political prisoner work to new cadres, first of all, I tell them that our community doesn't just extend on the outside. We got to think about people on the inside too. You know, so I also link in with my teacher, homage to Dr. Malimo Bomani K. Baruti. From time to time, we'll reach out to our people. Like my brother Amon Ra is currently serving time behind the walls, but still doing great things. So I asked Baba Baruti, who's also a great author, to send him books so he can not only educate himself, but just kind of reach out and touch as much as possible.
Okay.
And also, it's not just working when they're in, when they get out, you got to understand it's still the institutionalized mind. I do believe in giving all our brothers a chance. If they done time, they done time. People mistakes happen, circumstances happen, could be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, some things, depending on the scenario, you know what I mean? But if these brothers made a mistake in their life and they genuinely are seeking some kind of refuge where they can, their mind is changed and they walk on a straight path, it's our duty as brothers and sisters in uniform to help them, not only help them, but empower them. So how do we do that? We start on the inside. We touch them on the inside, just like Elijah Muhammad touched Malcolm X.
Yes, sir.
You hit them on the inside. You let them know we caring about you. We thinking about you. Hold your head. Are you okay? You start giving them knowledge because, everybody has an inward mind at one point in time. So imagine why they got that mind. If you El Haj Malik El Shabazz, it's the same situation with Malcolm Little. He had that inward mind, right?
Yes, sir.
So it took some brothers and sisters that were gods and goddesses to reach out and touch this brother on the shoulder and say, hey, this is what the real deal is.
Correct.
And when that man was freed, he went from the N word. One of my favorite books is by author named Akil, from Niggas of Gods. That's my book. I got both of them.
Yes, sir.
That's my book. That was the first set of books I read that woke me up. first set. And
Yes,
I
sir.
ended up, ironically, when the brother was locked down, I sent that book to him. And I said, I want you to read this book from cover to cover. And we're gonna have a discussion. I want you to write me and tell me about it.
Yes, sir.
Then after that was Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch. Then, then after that it was I taught him my famous $5 words. You know what I mean? But I had to teach him how, slavery impacted us to the cellular structure.
Yes, sir. Correct.
So it's not just systematic, it's systemic. So he knows both portions. So when we're reaching out and we're touching our brothers, and those brothers are touching our brothers, when they're behind the walls, it's literally a each one teach one scenario.
Yes, sir.
And I always say, what do you have? What else do you have to do? To me, that's a perfect. I'm not encouraging one. I'm just saying, in that kind of scenario, that is the perfect place to relearn yourself.
Mm.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Minus the mayhem, all you got time to do is sit there and read and study and better yourself while we bettering ourselves out here.
Yes, sir. Black Power. Yes,
No
sir. I
problem.
agree. Yeah, that's definitely a very good approach in regards to just like not only you touch it dialectically, like you're not just like really attacking like one way. You kind of be like, well, we incorporate a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Make sure we stay on the literature. Make sure they actually have a database of prisoners that we know we tapping in with. That's very like you said, systematic and systemic
Systemic.
and systematic.
Right.
Yes, sir. What's it called? Comrade Nat Turner just popped in. Peace and Black Power, Comrade Nat Turner.
Black Power,
Black
brother.
power.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry for the tardiness. We had a little situation here. It's a little thing that goes on every year. It's called like Super Sunday in the park, and just these little city code things and whatnot. And the sister was playing the music on private property, and I spent like about 30 something minutes over there because you know what, people not really understanding a lot of these things. And so that's what kind of took up the time. But I had to go over there, make sure that they were all right because they were trying to tell her to turn her music off. She was on private property. And,
Yes, sir.
we tried to like, check the pigs and tell them to pull out their own little code books and stuff, and they couldn't do it. And, but I'm glad to be on, man. It's a struggle, I always refer to as till the graveyard movement, till the end. You know what I'm saying? And like so I'm just glad to be on. Just want to apologize for the lateness, man. You know what I'm saying? Black Power.
Black Power, Comrade Nat Turner. It's good to see you today. You always come with wealth, knowledge, and experience and things like that. So we definitely appreciate you for being here today. The question I have for you, what are some of the books that got you educated on the political prisoner front? Like, what are some of the reads that you would recommend in regards to getting educated on that political prisoner front?
Oh wow, man. Damn. It's a damn good question. It's
Yes,
like
sir.
it strikes at the heart of the matter. Oh man, blood in my eye. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
Oh, yes, sir.
George
Powerful book.
Jackson. Um, I was slaving at this hotel like when I was in my early 20s, and it was an older brother that worked with me in the kitchen, and we started talking, rap about shit, whatever. I'm younger than him. I was like maybe about 15 years, 20 years younger than him, and I come to find he was a really knowledgeable brother. He knew a lot of things other people know. He knew like sciences, like chemistry and whatnot. But he used to tell me some of this shit, and I just like man, that's like it's well far ahead of where I'm at. You got to give me like some like first level shit because you on like 3 and 4. But we'd talk more and more until one day he was like, look, he said, let me tell you something. He said you need to read this book. He said, because like you're smart to be a young brother, and like you had to expand your understanding about like government, politics, political shit and stuff like that, whatever. And that brother like got in my ear one day and he told me about this book called Blood in My Eye.
Yes,
And
sir.
okay, it's just like the name like really kind of fucked me up. Like,
Yeah, right.
you mean like blood in my eye? Like, you think about blood, and you think about like a blood clot or something, but you got to talk to me more and more about who this dude was. Like I never heard of him. Say George Jackson. Like, and I was coming up like 80s or whatever, 70s, 80s, 90s. and just Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Mr. Farrakhan. But it
Yes,
was
sir.
just the usual shit about importance of education, staying away from drugs and all this shit. But this was the first brother really like told me about somebody that I never knew existed. So I got the book at some point, and we just started reading the shit. Like, man, wait a minute, like this man is on something else, like way out there, like. But I just knew something. It was something about him that like stood out. I'd been learning about like the Black Panther Party, H. Rap Brown. I hear about the names and Huey and all them, but I read this shit. I was like, I gotta read it again because I didn't fully understand it.
Yes,
So I
sir.
read it
A
again.
lot of comrades I've noticed too. George Jackson is a very analytical, dialectical writer. He's very detailed in regards to like and pragmatic too. He's very detailed and pragmatic about how he addresses disruption, the prison industrial complex, all the political and military arms of everything he's analyzing. So I definitely feel like even if you do read it and you kind of are absorbing it and getting it, rereading it, triple reading it is definitely something that I feel like all comrades kind of need to do.
Yeah, I had to read it. I read it like 3 times. You heard me? Because I
Yes,
wanted to
sir.
internalize that shit. Because I knew something was wrong with the picture. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Like up with hope, down with dope, keep hope alive, and we shall. I just knew something was wrong with that shit. Like, and there's no knock against any other the groups, but it's just like somebody come into your life and they give you like the real shit, like some grade A shit, like it is what it is. Like we were militant in the 80s. We had Public Enemy, and we didn't
Mhm.
go for that shit. Like we knew something was wrong with the picture, and we wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? So that was just up. But these are operations that take place like constantly. It's a constant. The shit stays in flux. You did, but it was George Jackson. Even like Carter G. Woodson, like to start off with, but like that political prisoner shit, I got to understand like really was about.
Yes, sir.
And then I started meeting some of the original OGs, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. I met Brother Blood. Word up, like that was like one of the first elders I met, and we was doing this Black August event. It was like the first one, and they put me. I was like outside, like I had this, like they put me in the parking lot. I was, like lonely and shit. Like I really wanted to be on the inside, but I had to do my fucking duty. You did, and so this elder steps outside, to smoke a cigarette, and I started talking with him. He was like, "Yo, what's up, young blood?" I was like, listening to him, and I was like, man, the shit that he was saying, and it was just, man, it was astronomical. So we all put here for a reason. I know mine's. You dig? It's a struggle, and it is what it is. There's nothing like liberation, man. You know what I'm saying? And you love your people. You're gonna do what you got to do. Stay practical. Um, just avoid, these spontaneous reactions to things. Being a reactionary. Um,
Yes, sir.
Eldridge Cleaver, he's referred to these cats called the jackanapes. He's to get these phone calls in the wee hours of the night. He's older than the jackanapes. They would look, let them do what everybody got to do. What they got to do is these things that work that just go. You dig? But it's a struggle, man. I've been blessed, and I love my people. I mean, that's all I can say. There's no political prisoners by coincidence. Um, just the fact that you had these different organizations back in the '60s, and I try to tell people, because some people sensitive. We all got our favorites and whatnot, but I learned to line all the different organizations up, and I try to learn their histories and stuff. Like, why did they start? How did they come about? NAACP, SCLC,
Yes,
CORE,
sir.
Congress of Racial Equality, SNCC. And I just wanted to learn all of them. You know what I'm saying? Make my own fucking mind up. But it was the Black Panther Party that did it. And so, well, if they had like 300, 280 operations, content touch program operation, then why the bulk of them was focused
To the
on this
Black
group?
Panthers. Yeah,
Why are they
that's
not
because
why are they not why are they not SCLC political prisoners? Why there's not
right.
NAACP political prisoner? Why there's not core Roy Ennis
Mhm.
political prisoner? Why Roy Ennis didn't end
Yeah.
up? being a political prisoner. You know what I'm saying? Like
Correct.
Snick got close. You did because who
Yeah.
came out of Snick? You know, H-Rap
Well,
and
they
And
merged the
Stokely.
SNCC with the Black
yeah,
Panther. You
that's what I'm
feel me?
saying.
They
Yeah,
know
And
that the Black Panther Party was the number one, the greatest internal threat to national security.
yes,
They
sir.
knew the not just the ideology and the theory that they were teaching, because SNCC was developing to certain theories and teachings too. But it was the praxis, it was serving the people, and it was the momentum, it was the utilizing the science
right
to
on.
operate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When it comes to the
right.
Black Panther Party, and I know we only got a few more times to go, man, but
Mm-hmm.
the Black Panther Party is key element of, you know what I'm saying, the prison abolition movement. You know what I'm saying? And it's still so many comrades of the Black Panther Party for self-defense in the 60s and 70s that are still locked up. We have
Man.
some of those comrades that listed on the chat here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually, before we go out and everything, we're gonna give a quick shout out to all the comrades that are on the Break the Lock Nationwide book prison program.
Right on.
Also, too, while y'all on here, make sure y'all support the African Intercommunal News Service. What's it called? First comrade is Mumia Abdul Jamal. Obviously, Mumia is kind of one of our more famous political prisoners. People know him. What's it called? Philadelphia chapter of the Black Panther Party. Then you got Jamil Abdul Al Amin, which is H. Rap Brown as well. He was what's it called? Connected to the Minister of Justice of the Black Panther Party and also fifth chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Also, I'd like to add a point. They actually changed the nonviolent part eventually to a
Bingo.
national. So,
Yes, sir.
Comrade Nat
Yes,
Turner brought
sir.
that up last time. I wanted to make sure.
Right
Um,
on.
Number four is Comrade Veronza Bowers. Veronza Bowers is a former member of the Black Panther Party. Hilton Freddy. Hilton Freddy is a former member of the Black Panther Party. At the age of 17, he dedicated his life and service to his people at Jamaica Queens office of the Black Panther Party. You have Jeff Fort, who is the founder of the El Rukin Almighty Black Peace Stone Nation. You have Russell McGee. Russell McGee's birthday actually was just recently, March 17th. He participated in the events of the August 17th, 1970 Marin County Courthouse with Jonathan Jackson and his revolutionary militant actions. Ed Poindexter. Poindexter was a member of the Black Panther Party, the Omaha, Nebraska chapter. What's it called? You got Kenny Zulu Whitmore, which Kenny Zulu Whitmore has been in prison in Angola for about 45 plus years, the Angola chapter of the Black Panther Party. Joseph Bowen, Smart Communications. Oh, my fault. Joseph Bowen, which is a member of the Black Liberation Army. Ronald Reed, which was a member of he joined the Black United Front, became a political prisoner through joining. Grayling Brown. Grayling Brown was captured on December 19, 1975 during a bank appropriation.
Right.
Expropriation, my apologies.
No, I just want to say that, look, those terminologies, politically correct terminologies. Word
Yes,
up.
sir.
Keep
Yes,
going. I
sir.
just want to say that. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Appreciate you, Comrade Black Power. Fred Burton. Fred Burton was accused and then convicted of participating in the planning of a murder of a Philadelphia police officer. Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover is the leader of the Gangster Disciples and transformed into a positive growth and development group. He was convicted of murder in 1974 and given 6 life sentences. Free them
Right.
all. Free them all.
Remo, hey, Matulu came home. You feel
Yes,
me?
sir.
Jalil Muntaqui came home. Back early in the days, you know what I'm saying? Geronimo Pratt came home. The work does work. It's not like it's not going to waste. You know what I'm saying? Like we dealing with the situation even with Mamiya. Mamiya, they got people in South Africa right now raising hell for Mamiya. You feel me? In
Word.
South Africa though. So like
Yes, sir.
it's not a game. There is it's effective, and we are winning. The feel me? Repression breeds resistance. Resistance breeds repression. We will win. We ain't gonna lose. It's oink oink bang bang. It's nothing but a black power thing.
Right on, right on. And Marshall had it
Uh,
come away. Marshall
I'm
had
gonna
it come
say.
away recently. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
I want to say one last thing that H. Rap Brown actually said in Swahili after one of his speeches. He said, "Tutashinda bila shaka," which means we will conquer undoubtedly. Black Power.
Right on, man. Yeah,
Black
man.
Power.
Hey, man,
And free
I'm
H.
so
Rap Brown too.
right
Yes,
on,
sir.
man. I'm so glad to be part of this shit, man. It's like, some people say it's a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's my reality. You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
real. Man, we all we got, man. And we got to look, we got to compound their problems. We got to make their problems as complex as they can be. You know what I'm saying? Internationalize the struggle. You know what Malcolm X is doing. These latest execution, high tech lynchings of these brothers out here, in America, and we spell that shit with a small A and capital 3 Ks. You did, like real talk. And we got to internationalize the struggle and compound their problem. Look, they pass us down, man. They're in the crisis. Real talk, man. It's no abstract shit. They in a crisis. Anybody who understand political economy, the banks, all this stuff, they're in sad shape. They're in sad shape. And we got to, get to where the masses of the people are out in these streets. Out in these streets, man, because the power is out there. And these young cats is hungry. They hungry, man. They know real dudes when they see them. And we ain't got to do no preaching. You know what I'm saying? We gonna come with that real shit, politicize them, political educate them, dialectical materialism, the whole shit, historical materialism, all the contradiction, like you said, point out the contradiction and heighten the contradiction. And they in sad shape, man, they in bad shape. But we'll be war that's going on, war inside the war. But that's a phase that's got to take place. You know what I'm saying? For the bigger shit. You dig? Black power, straight up.
Black Power family. Yeah, we gonna wrap it up, comrades. You know what I'm saying? I want people to tap in, you know what I'm saying? Google everything. All the people that we listed, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna this will be on YouTube. So in the chat, in the YouTube comment section, there will be other information based off of how you can contribute to the Black Defense Committee, and we gotta keep doing the work. Black
Yes,
Power and
sir.
all power to the people.
All power to the people.
Power for the people.